Show, Chew on This, episode number 5. We're going to be talking about what we're watching on TV now. So this is going to basically encompass everything. Sci-fi, drama. I don't think I'm watching any horror.
I'm watching something. We'll get to that one. I'm watching, sitcoms and stuff like that. But
so what's the one that, like, if I said, all right, this is the show that I absolutely have to watch every week, what do you jump into?
The Flash.
Yeah, I think that's the only one for me too. I think, like, when it comes on, I basically just wait maybe 15, 20 minutes if I can.
Yeah.
And then play it from the DVR so that I could just fast forward the commercials and kind of
That's actually how I do. That's actually how I do most of my shows that way. Well, there's just certain shows that I have to watch week to week, and The Flash is definitely one of them. And, like, other shows I can let kind of bundle up, and then watch them when I got time. But The Flash I definitely watch week to week. And last year, God, man, it was one of the best shows on TV, and so far this season's been pretty good.
Yeah, so far it's been pretty good. It just ended on such a high note last season, so.
Yeah.
But, saying that now, I think the only reason why The Flash is kind of like on our front now is basically because we don't have Daredevil. I mean, for me, Daredevil was the best show last year.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, I binge watched the shit out of that show when it came out. It was so good.
I recently I revisited it because it had been in April since I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got kind of like, when they announced The Punisher and all that stuff coming up for the new Daredevil season, I just, like, got that weird, like, I got to watch this again. So I binge-watched all 13 episodes within, like, 2 days.
Yeah, the guy who plays Daredevil, Charlie Cox, he's so good.
I know. I want to watch some of his other stuff. Like, what else has he done?
I think he's British, right? Like, he's not.
Yeah.
He's not from America. I don't know what else he's done.
I
don't even know how I
that.
found this guy, but he's great as Daredevil.
I
saw an article today that they asked him, like, what if they recasted Daredevil for the movies in Marvel, and I was thinking that it doesn't sound like something Marvel would do, and I could have swore Kevin Feige said in the past that the whole universe is connected.
Yeah, I would be very surprised. I know that the DCU is doing something completely different. They're casting, a different Flash, which I'm sorry, but the guy that's playing the Flash right now is like he's the Flash to me.
Yeah.
So to like cast somebody else, kind of, I don't know.
Did you read today too that they asked the director, or no? It was from the other night when they showed that the preview for
the special,
Dawn of Justice. Yeah, and they interviewed, I think his name is Ezra Miller. Is that his
name? Yeah. That's who's
playing the Flash. They interviewed him, and they interviewed the guy who Kevin Smith was interviewing throughout that entire special. Mm-hmm. And Ezra Miller and the other guy said they basically said the same storyline as the one on TV, and it just made me even think even harder. Like, you guys are a bunch of fucking morons.
They're doing stuff so differently, and I wonder if it's because they're trying to differentiate themselves so much from Marvel. But I just at this point don't understand why. It's like, just do single movies and then make your Justice League movie. So what if somebody else did it before you? We don't care. We want it done right, And so it really doesn't really. So to recast all these things and do more origin stories, I'm like, it's getting pretty tedious. Like, I'm losing more and more faith in DC's like to the point where, like, I don't even really want to watch an Aquaman movie. I'll wait till it comes out on DVD. I'm not interested in going to the theater to pay my money for that. Batman and Superman, I'll do that just for the fact it's Batman and Superman, and then the Justice League, of course, I'll pay money for that, and they know that for a fact. But to spend $150 million on even a Wonder Woman movie by itself, I mean, okay, but like spending money on Aquaman and
maybe they should recast it and get the guy who played Aquaman in Entourage.
Yeah, that would be, and get James Cameron to direct it. Yeah, that would be the ultimate life imitating art, or vice versa.
What Jeremy Piven's name was? What, Ira? In that
no, it's Ari. Yeah,
Ari.
Ari.
Right.
Ari Gold.
Fucking love Ari Gold.
I know. Did you see the Entourage? I know, a little off.
No, I didn't see it yet.
Watch it. It's a good continuation of the show. That show kind of, it's pretty good. So
you know what else? So the other thing I'm watching, or I actually did watch, which you didn't watch, was Into the Badlands. I actually was it like, I think it was like 8 to 10 episodes. I powered through all of those on my DVR. I saw the first episode.
Yeah.
You did watch one.
I finally watched the first episode, and so far I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
Oh, the fight scenes in that get really good. Like, not Daredevil in the hallway good, but still really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe that's on a weekly show. The fight choreography that they're doing in that show is ridiculous, because that's one of the hardest. It's one thing to rehearse lines and stuff like that, but then to also rehearse like all those fight moves and things like that for a weekly show is not easy.
Oh man, well now I'm definitely going to have to power through and finish those, because I have them all on the DVR. I recorded all of them and watched after you told me the other day that, dude, that's really, really cool. I went and watched the first episode, and I was like, wow, that's impressive. And AMC, they got balls. They've been doing some just amazing programming over the years. I mean, my favorite all-time show, hands down, still is Breaking Bad. I still
great show.
Go back and watch that show. Yeah,
such a good show.
What about? Have you been keeping up with Gotham? Because I kind of.
Oh my God, no! Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
I'm so pissed at that show. I feel like Lost. Remember, they sucked you in for 2 seasons. They're like, oh, what's going on? Why is there a polar bear? Why is there a black cloud? And then 4 seasons later, you're like, fuck Lost, but you're still watching it. You're hoping that something happens, and then the series finale happens. You're thinking, you fucking assholes.
Yeah, I felt pretty robbed by the end of that thing. I remember the last 2 seasons I literally DVR'd. I just didn't even watch it, and then we binge watched 40-something episodes.
Well, you know what Gotham is right now. So Gotham is what Lost is in a flashback, and you're watching what happens to all of the people from Lost on the island, knowing full well that the whole time they were in fucking limbo, or Jack was in limbo.
Right.
So that's what's like watching Gotham. You already know Bruce Wayne's going to be Batman.
You're
watching all this shit happening in front of you. You're like, okay, well, Batman's not going to die, so you can stop threatening his life.
Right.
Stop trying to put him in near-death situations when you know he's not going to fucking die. Same thing with Gordon. Same thing with all the villains too.
Yeah, Alfred's not going to die. Penguin. None of those people are gonna die. You're right. The only people die.
The older villains too. They're going to take somebody like the Penguin, who's already in his 30s, and Bruce Wayne is, 12 or something in the
something
show?
Like that, yeah.
So by the time he actually faces Penguin, the Penguin is going to be basically keeled over. Yeah,
he'll be in his 40s or late 40s or something by that.
Later than that, because Batman, I think, doesn't become Batman until he's in his early 30s.
Oh, really?
Or
I always thought it was mid-20s or something, but maybe he's at his peak then. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe late 20s or early 30s.
I was intrigued the first half the season, I'd say, last year, and then I just lost interest, and I had to binge watch the last 13 episodes last summer when it got to Netflix.
How many are left in your DVR right now?
I'm 5 behind, I think, right now. I'm
6.
Yeah, because over Christmas break, I watched the first few episodes just to try to catch up, and because they hammered that ad campaign all summer long about Rise of the Villains, and so I was like, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. And the first couple episodes weren't too bad, and then now I'm back to I'm losing interest again, because
basically it feels like what they did with this season. It feels like that when Smallville started to really start being a piece of shit show.
Yeah.
Started pulling all these characters after he had graduated out of Smallville. He's working in Metropolis. but he still lives in Smallville, so they kept going on with it. And then, you know, they started bringing in, you know, the Justice League. They started bringing in,
which was such a disappointing episode, man.
Doomsday.
I remember the show. There was an episode called The League, and I remember that going like, oh, I was so looking forward to that episode because you go on TV.com and you could see the episodes that are coming up and what they're named, and that one was called The League.
Right.
And I want to say that was like in the 6th season. I thought the first 5 seasons of Smallville was pretty strong. I did. I liked it.
Yeah,
and then season 6 happened, and then, you know, stuff started to go downhill. But I remember seeing that name, The League, and I was like, oh, awesome, like it's about fucking time, you know. And then that episode came, and I was like, it was a total wet fart. I mean, it was like, it was like
wasn't it like a future thing too?
I don't remember. It was something about they had to go and break into Lex's or break into some building to steal something. I don't remember. But I remember Aquaman swimming in the water. And,
right.
And, you know, and they had Cyborg there and they had a few other characters and it was just, you know, it was pretty lame. It sucked. It sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they introduced the Flash, he was little. He was like young, and I remember the only thing that was cool
Wally
about
West, basically.
Right. The only thing that was cool about that was that they told you just how fast the Flash was. Like Superman couldn't catch up to him.
Oh yeah, when he was backpedaling.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I thought that was pretty cool. But
yeah, I just hated
anyway.
it because like it felt like they ran out of ideas, and like, you know, they made the guy who is in the voice of the video game for the Force Unleashed, Sam something.
Yeah. Oh, Sam Witwer. Yeah, Doomsday.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck are you
that
doing,
was
Doomsday?
Doomsday
doesn't have to really become Superman.
No, and the way they handled him was completely bad too.
Started.
It was really bad.
But I still kept watching. I still kept fucking watching it.
Well, because do you know why you kept watching it? It's the same reason I did. I wanted to see him in the fucking suit flying around.
You still never did, though.
No, at the very end you see
fucking CG.
Yeah, at the end you see him like in the distance doing something, and then you see him like running and pulling the jacket open and his shirt open and seeing the crest, and that was it. That's all you saw. You never got to see anything else. And it was
the crest
such a fucking
actually from Superman Returns.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. You know, that kind of thing really bothers me because it's the same thing, and we've talked about this so many times, but the same thing. We wanted to see Darth Vader kick ass and kill Jedi and all that stuff. Why couldn't they, with Superman, even just a couple of episodes, show him do something in the suit? It would have gone so far with the fans. They would have loved that so much.
Maybe George Lucas wrote and directed those episodes.
No, you know who probably directed those episodes was you remember the Kevin Smith thing where he talked about the Wild Wild West and the spider and and you know they were going to make a Superman movie and he told them in the script, I don't want to see him fly, I don't want to see him in a suit, and I don't want to see whatever.
Peters.
Right. Yeah, that's his name. And that reminded me of that. I'm like, why didn't you just show that even for like 10 minutes at the end of the episode? See him like fighting crime or punching something or doing something. Then we had 10 years of it's like I don't know. I could totally pull a Kevin Smith right now. It's like someone jerking you off, and then at the very end when you're about to unleash, they stop and just walk away. You're like, wait, like, what do you do? Like, what? Hold on a second, like that. What is all this fanfare and then nothing at the end? You know, it's crazy.
But they kept to their word. They said all series long that they would not. You would not see Superman.
And yet we're idiots, and we kept watching the damn thing. You know, they would give a little.
We're the assholes.
They would give little hints, right? They would give little hints about, like, there was one where, like, he touched this girl, whoever touched her, she would see their death. Remember that?
Right.
And, he touched her, and she's like...
and he just flew.
It was just the feet.
In the air flying.
You just saw feet and then a cape flying behind the feet, you know, in clouds. And I was like, they did just enough to make you like, like, okay, I got to keep watching this.
Scrambled porn.
Right. I see a tit.
Or is that an elbow?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
anyway.
That's an old show that we're not watching anymore.
Right. But sometimes you have to refer to those shows to go like, okay, you remember that? this is what's happening now in this thing.
Let's see, what am I watching?
Well, I'm still watching Arrow, but that show, it's like it's like editing Jar Jar Binks out of episode 1. If they would just edit those stupid flashbacks out of Arrow, the show would be pretty decent.
Yeah, I hate those flashbacks.
Because the first 2 seasons it made sense to the story, and now they're just doing whatever they want. They're just like,
how many fucking times is he gonna go back to that island?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I think
to the point where he knows every fucking thing and how to get back.
Right.
Before he didn't know where the fuck he was. Now he's like he can do it with his fucking eyes closed.
Well, next season will be the 5th season, so by then they got to stop doing this flashbacks. I'm just, and how many different times they capture the main bad guy.
How
and then
long?
He gets
how
out.
long has he been? How long was he missing for?
5 years.
5 years. So, right. So no more flashbacks after 5 seasons. At least
that's what I'm hoping, dude. I'm hoping after this year, no more.
I hope so.
Yeah, just get back to being a regular show, man. Just get back. The flashbacks were great the first 2 seasons.
Well, I didn't watch last night's episode, but I caught up. So I'm right there at the.
I did. The only thing I kind of liked what they were doing between the 2 shows, the Flash and Arrows, when they did the crossovers. They were really strong.
Those were really good, yeah.
They were really strong, and then they're setting up Legends of Tomorrow, which, I think it's playing right now while we're talking, so we won't get to talk about that for a little bit. But they did such a beautiful job setting up the characters to be put in there.
You mean the exact opposite of what the DCCU is doing?
Oh my God, the TV DCU is crushing it. I mean, I don't really. You're probably watching Supergirl. I've only watched a couple episodes. That's another one I've DVR'd. I'm just like, well, I'll just wait.
I feel like it's still trying to find its way. It's getting a little bit better. There's something big that happened like 2 or 3 episodes, like another character was revealed.
And you can't tell me.
But it's getting better.
That's another Berlanti show. Like, that dude is just killing it, man. And it's too bad.
Oh, that's right. He is Berlanti. I got the kids down in front of the TV at the end. That's right. All of them.
Yeah, and if it's too bad that Supergirl's on CBS because it might. A crossover might not ever happen because of that.
That'd be cool if they got all 3 together.
It would totally be cool. I mean, they totally could do it, if the networks agreed upon something. But the Supergirl, I've watched the first episode, and it reminded me totally of the Flash. It had the same kind of template, the same kind of like pacing, and same kind of like humor and stuff like that.
But you could tell watching it that it's on CBS. It's so bright.
They have.
Remember I told you that? I told you it's really, really bright.
Yes, they have definitely a different way of filming. But as far as like the script and the characters and all that stuff is concerned, like I watched it and I'm like, man, this looks like the guy who made, did.
What do you think about Flash redoing the entire character for Jimmy Olsen?
I thought it was okay. I don't mind like my whole thing with like. Changing, I don't know if I really want to get too far into this, but like anyone changing race, it didn't matter like what he was. As long as he's a really good actor and it fits the part, I really could care less, and the only thing that was kind of different for me was like her like falling for Jimmy. And of course, like Jimmy Olsen, in the well, yeah, I mean in the comics and all that stuff, he's kind of goofy and everyone kind of dismisses him and all that. But this guy's like, like holy crap,
he's like 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, he's like a freaking model, dude. And I'm like, okay, I don't know about that, but all right, I'll just whatever. It's not a big deal. So yeah, I'm fine with that. It's not a problem. But
I didn't care about any of that. I just the only thing I don't care what, as long as the guy's a good actor. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he's a good actor. He was in. I think he was in the first time I ever saw him act. It was in True Blood.
Yeah.
But
oh, that's right. That's where I recognize him. That's right.
So Supergirl is I don't even know how to describe it. Like it doesn't fit anything that's on TV.
No.
Because it's filmed differently than the Flash, and it's definitely not as dark as Arrow. And I think what I like about it is she's even in 6 or 7 episodes. She's already changed a lot than how she was in the beginning. And I don't think I could stand her really in the beginning. I didn't know if I bought her as Supergirl, but I think they did it on purpose, and I guess she did a really good job of you not believing that she can actually do this stuff.
Right. Well, that's good. Well, then that just shows that's just good writing, and they're finding their flow, basically.
Yeah. And the point about Jimmy Olsen for me, I didn't care about the race or whatever. The guy's a good actor. My problem was that it felt like a cheap thing to throw into Supergirl, because maybe they thought like Supergirl couldn't stand on its own.
Right.
You know, so now you take a character from Superman's world and, you know, bring him in.
Yeah, no, I agree. And also the only complaint I have the first episode is they formed the team really quickly. Like all of a sudden she's telling everybody. Like everybody's finding out who she is. And I was like, you know, like why not pace that out?
That's almost like Arrow, though.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, didn't they pace that out a little bit? I can't remember the first season.
I don't know. I felt like everybody was finding out.
I just felt like, you know, if they just like they just did it really fast. I thought, gosh, like let people find out in different ways. You know, it'd be really interesting to have them find out in different ways. But you know, whatever. What do you think of Calista Flockhart's character?
I like her a lot better than Jada Pinkett Smith's character.
Oh my
Gotham.
God! Oh yeah, Fishman. I couldn't stand that character, and I know they
made
made her up.
If she was like in the '60s, if this was filmed in the '60s, it might work.
50s. Yeah, she's a total caricature. It's I couldn't stand every time she's on.
She's the only one like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Nobody talks like that.
The fake Joker.
Yeah. I was just nobody.
That kid was really overdoing it.
Yeah, and it takes you right out. It takes you right out of the thing, and so
it didn't seem natural. It sounded like he was trying really hard.
I just
like
think
that
like
drama kid that you knew in high school.
Right.
Act out a scene and be all dramatic about it.
I was thinking, man, it's too bad Berlanti doesn't have his hands on that show, because I think he would do much better job.
You know, I thought from the beginning it was supposed to be about Jim Gordon's story, and you know how his ranks, you know, rose up to, you know, commissioner. And
right.
So I thought it was going to be like a murder mystery type movie with some twists here and there.
Which it kind of started that way. It was like villain of the week kind of thing for a little bit. You know.
It was like, but it wasn't a villain. It was just like a normal, you know, like robbery or something, a crime. What I feel they should have done is only sprinkle certain things here and there about, you know, you should start the series finale with Bruce Wayne, you know, parents' murders.
Right.
That's a great way to start. But then after that, just have it be about murders and robberies, and really good, you know, well planned out murders and robberies. You should get some of the early writers from like Law and Order and stuff like that. And as the
make it a crime drama.
Yeah, as the weeks go on, they increase the ridiculousness of it to where the murders become more showy, you know, like instead of like you find a body behind a dumpster, you find a body in the middle of the street all like laid up, like perfectly done for the cops to find.
Right.
And then slowly start building the fact that Gotham's getting crazier and worse as the series goes on. And then, you know, start after that, you can, because the writing for the crime and the murders and the robberies are so good, you kind of don't really care that you haven't seen Bruce Wayne in 5 episodes, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing is like last year the big story arc, you know, was finding the killer for his parents.
Right.
And it feels like, you know, this season is just about, it's insane. Like there's just villains running around everywhere and causing all this ruckus. And I'm just like, oh my God, like how long can they keep this up, you know, before you're kind of get tired of it, you know? And I also wonder, like, I don't know about you, but like what would happen if next year they said 10 years later or something like that, or 5 years later?
They would never do that, because that would be kind of getting close to Batman Year One.
Well, you know, but the thing is that what would be fascinating to me is to see their relationship grow, because that was one of the best parts about the Nolan Batman movies was I liked seeing their interactions together, and each movie it got more and more increased, and you know,
right.
And I really dug that. And then you saw like Jim Gordon go, you know, he keeps getting promoted each movie. So it would just be cool. I don't know, like maybe you're right, but I just feel like, you know, there's certain things that I want to see that they're not showing me. Like I could care less about Enigma trying to date this chick at the police station. I don't care. You know, I'm like, what does this have to do with anything? Unless maybe they have a plan, like she dies and it makes
And what's crazy about that is, like, in the beginning I was like, wow, that's a really good idea that he actually is a forensic scientist, you know, working for the cops.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that. That made sense.
And
that was kind of cool.
And then but he's basically the Riddler without the suit, like, from the very beginning because of the way that he acts.
Oh yeah, like who runs around and does riddles all the time when they're like, shut the fuck up and tell me the information.
Right.
Like,
so then when he actually becomes the Riddler and he starts doing this shit and leaving riddles all over the place, you don't think the cops are going to know it's fucking him right away?
Well, I know. That's the other thing that really bothers me. I don't know. Anytime you do a prequel, we've talked about this. Anytime you do a prequel, there's just no sense of danger. There's no, you know everyone's going to make it out alive. There's no sense of any of that stuff, and then when they said they killed Fish Mooney off, but yet they're saying, well, we don't, the producers are like, oh, don't count anyone out.
I was okay with that.
I'm like, yeah, but they're like, don't count anyone out. I'm like, oh, what do you mean? So like now you just kill someone, but they're not really dead. I'm like, that's just copping out, Like,
well, it's also comic books too.
Yeah, but now you're just getting into soap opera territory where you can just kill somebody off point blank and then bring them back and have some ridiculous explanation or don't explain it at all.
Well, the way that she was acting, she probably is better off on a soap opera than on Gotham.
Yeah, I couldn't stand her character. Okay, so Arrow. You're all caught up on the Arrow, right? But you didn't watch.
No, I just didn't watch. I'm caught up, but I didn't watch the last one. So I just didn't get a chance to watch it tonight.
Yeah, then I won't go into it because there's some stuff about it that's big time spoilers.
So Arrow, we're watching. What about any non-comic book stuff you're watching?
Oh gosh, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like one of my favorite half-hour comedy shows. Andy Samberg is so funny, and the whole cast is like pretty stellar, and it's like in its third season now, and it's still super, super good. Like, I'm glad that Fox actually gave that show a chance because they usually cancel things really quickly. But the first year that was on, it won all sorts of awards. So anyway, but it's a great show, and it hit its stride last year, and it's still going pretty good.
What about? Wait, so I fit into the Batman, so that's not really comic book stuff.
Yeah.
Let me think. Comedies. Well, I watched The Big Bang Theory. I mean,
yeah.
It's pretty good for a good laugh.
It's still, it's still going. I think it's starting to. I think they have like 1 year left on their contract, and I wouldn't even mind if they ended it next year because I think it's kind of like, not that they're running out of ideas, but like how Seinfeld kind of went out on top. I think that they need to do the same thing. They need to do the same thing before they get, they wear out their welcome kind of thing. Because like the storylines are getting a little more convoluted, and they're really like stretching here and there, trying to make it, into something that you're just like, okay, all right. Like the characters have grown a lot to the point where you're like, okay, well, how much more they really need to do,
the only interesting thing is Sheldon
finally had sex with Amy. Yeah.
Yeah, so Sheldon and Amy. So
the only thing I could possibly think of that would invigorate the show a little bit or keep it going a little bit longer is if, because you have 3-4 sets of couples, but they're the ones that would be like, wow, if they got pregnant or had a kid, that would be pretty bizarre compared to if Penny and Leonard or the other ones had kids. Like, I would think if they had a kid first, that would trip everybody out.
Right.
It would be an interesting season, or interesting to see him as a father or something. Okay, so the comedy. So my favorite comedy still, for the last several years, it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like, for whatever reason, I've never seen a show quite like that where even at season 11 we're in right now, it's still fucking hilarious, man.
Yeah, Charlie Day and...
oh, my God. Those guys are
really
so funny. Like,
everybody has something in the episode that just makes you fucking laugh really loud.
Every episode. I can't think of one episode where I was like this. Even the lowest of episodes is still pretty damn funny. But you were actually the one who introduced me to that show because I visited you back in New Jersey when you lived there, and you're like, dude, have you ever seen this show? Like, we just watched this episode. It's so funny. You got, and I'm like, no, I've never seen that show. And you're like, you idiot, you need to watch it. And you made me watch the 1 hour one, the 2-parter. And I sat there watching it, going like, oh my god, this is fucking funny. And I went home.
What was that?
It was, I think it was called Charlie and Mac Are Dead. And when they faked their death, they drove Dee's car to the wall.
Running into the fucking wall like twice.
Yeah, they ran into the wall with the car, and then they threw a grenade in the car, and they faked their death. But you showed me that episode, and I'm like, oh my god, like this is hysterical.
Didn't they end up living on the roof of the?
Yeah, they lived on the roof, and like Deandra found them, and they were all eating beads and hot dogs up there, drinking beer. But I ended up going home and watched all 4 seasons, and then every year since then I've watched every episode every week. I mean, diligently, and now we're in season 11, and I keep thinking like each year, like what are they going to do? Like how are they going to keep this? And yet they keep finding a way to make me laugh. And like now they're getting like some episodes are like reaching back to some of the older episodes. So if you're a really big fan of the show, they're bringing back like old storylines but making them fresh.
Did they bring back Nine Man?
No, but they brought back. Did you ever watch that show, the episode Charlie McDennis, where they play the game of games? They brought that back, and they brought back, I can't remember. I've only seen 2 episodes this season so far, and they've brought back a couple storylines that were just freaking hysterical. The last episode I watched, like Danny DeVito's character, he falls out the window and gets amnesia, and so he thinks it's 2006. So they're like, oh, cool. We can go back. We can act like it's 2006, and we can get him to sign over his money, like when he was supposed to do that and all that. So they're making him. So the whole episode they're making him like it's 2006, but they keep making the same mistakes they did 10 years ago. So like all the same shit keeps happening. I'm like, oh my god, it's so funny. So the show's brilliant, man. It's still really funny. It holds up. And you can go back, and on Netflix, all 10 seasons are there. You can watch them all. I binge watched the hell out of it all over again in anticipation.
Trying to think what the fuck I'm watching. What else am I watching?
Well, the only other comedy I was going to mention real quick is something on Netflix called Master of None.
I have not seen it yet, but I want to.
I heard about it. Aziz Ansari is one of my. He's awesome. I loved him in Parks and Rec, which coincidentally ended last year, and I love the ending. It was great.
Yeah, good ending.
But Masters of None, it's like I think about 10 episodes. It's gritty. It's hysterical. It's like Louis C.K. good. You know what I mean? Like Louis does like a very interesting type of show where he does all the writing, by the way, and his show is fantastic. But this is like very like realism, but like just hilarious, like good comedy in it, and and they break stereotypes and stuff like that. Because he's Indian and like his friends are Indians and they're all struggling actors, and like they kind of talk about that kind of stuff and relationships and stuff like that. It's the very first scene in the show when you watch, you're going to be like, oh my god, like that's happened to me, holy shit, and you're going to laugh. It's really good. It's really, really good.
Did you watch The Do Girl?
Yeah, I haven't watched it this season though.
Everybody on that show's hilarious.
Yeah, no, and they're all like being in the movies now too. Some of them.
Yeah. I haven't seen Schmidt in anything, but the guy who was
her boyfriend for a while.
Yeah, what was his name?
I can't remember, man. I watched the first I think 3 seasons, and I didn't really watch it last year, and I haven't watched it this year yet. I think the 4th season's on Netflix now, so I can go back.
Yeah,
and watch it.
we're watching it now. It's fucking hilarious. They're so fucking funny.
He's funny. I can't remember his name either, but he's a bartender in the show.
Yeah,
and he's the funniest character on that show. He's so fucking silly.
Nick, that's his name. Nick.
Nick.
He was in Jurassic World.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was the guy running the little facility in there, talking back and forth to Dallas Bryce Howard.
Yeah.
No, he's super funny, but he was in this movie that didn't really get a lot of recognition. It was a comedy. It was called We're Cops or something. He was pretending to be a cop, like he got a cop outfit or something. He stole it or something like that.
Was it a car?
He bought a car and they made it look like a cop car, And then he put on, because like people were like giving him respect and stuff like that. So him and his friend start driving around this cop car. Oh, that movie's pretty funny too. That movie's pretty funny.
I can't think of anything else I'm watching right now. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, as far as comedy, do you watch that show Suits?
No.
Okay, well, do yourself a favor at some point. You know, I'm sure the show probably has another year or two to go before they end it, but it's a really good show. It's like the premise is like this kid, you know, who like flunked out or he got kicked out of law school, I think, for cheating or something like that, or helping someone cheat. And there's like a job at this law office, and he goes in there to get the job, and the guy's like, well, you don't even have a law degree, but the guy is so super smart. Like he has what do you call a memory where you can like remember everything, you never forget anything?
Photographic memory.
Yeah, something like that. Didactic memory. I can't remember what it's called.
Photographic memory.
Photographic memory. We'll just say that. But he can never forget anything. So like the lawyer guy goes, okay, I'm going to hire you, but we can't tell anyone that you don't have a law degree. And so basically the premise of the show is he's working for this guy who's kind of a total asshole dick, but he's like a really good lawyer. And he's taking this kid under his wing, and you're always trying to figure out like, oh shit, is he going to get caught? Like there's always that kind of shit happening. But the court cases and the shit that they go through, the show is riveting, dude. It's so good. The characters you'll love, and the premise and everything. Every season there's some story arc, or you're like, how the shit are they going to get out of this? Kind of like Dexter. How are they going to get out of this? You know.
Yeah.
It's good. It's really super good. Yeah. Suits.
You know, all the things that I watch now, they're all either on Netflix or I just binge watch them and I just let shit build up on my DVR.
Well, you know, everything that you and I watch is on hiatus right now. You know, like Walking Dead and Game of Thrones and
Game of Thrones. Yeah, that's.
You know, that's coming up.
I think I watch a lot more. I watch a lot more basic cable and internet service movies than I do network television.
I do too. I think CW is most shows that I watch, but like CBS has The Big Bang Theory. It's about the only thing I watch on there, and then Netflix has like all the shows. Like I really got into Narcos and like Making a Murder, which has been all over the news. So
I only watched the first episode. On that.
I started watching that. It's kind of tough sell for me, but I'm trying to stick to it. And then the show that I don't know if you've ever seen, but it's supposed to come back on for the final season. It's a show called Banshee, and it's on Cinemax.
No, I've never seen it.
That show is so fucking good, dude. It is so good, and you can only do it on cable, but the basic premise of that is like a guy who's a con. He's been in the jail for like 15 years. He finally gets out, and he wants to find his girlfriend and he got, basically they stole diamonds and he handed them to his girlfriend so she can escape, and he got caught, thrown in jail for 15 years. He gets out and he can't find her, and so he's trying to find her. And then he finally ends up in this little town and he finds her. And while he's in the town, he's in this bar trying to figure out what his next move is because she doesn't want everything to do with him. And the sheriff comes walking in. He's like, yeah, I'm a new sheriff in town. I get sworn in tomorrow. I'm from back east. They haven't met me yet. And like these two guys come in to like shake up the bar, like get money from the bartender because they own the town kind of thing. And like the sheriff gets involved and he gets killed, and the other two guys get killed. So like the guy that the ex-con is standing there going like, what the fuck just happened? And so he picks up the sheriff badge and he's like, I'm going to be the sheriff. So like it's kind of like this premise of like an ex-con is the sheriff, and nobody has met the guy before. They hired him over the phone or whatever. So nobody knows who this guy is, and he acts, so he's the sheriff. And you have like, it's an Amish community near the town. So like the lead Amish guy, he left the Amish community and like now he's like a drug lord and all that stuff. He sells sex and drugs and, oh dude, this show, I'm telling you, I'm not even doing it justice. It's so fucking awesome. You have to, it's nudity and cursing and heck of violence and like, I can't say enough about it. You got to watch this show, Banshee.
Is it on Netflix?
It's on Cinemax. I don't know if it's on Netflix. I had Cinemax for a while, and I watched the shit out of it, and I don't even mind buying it for a couple of months when it comes back on because this is the last season, so I got to see how this thing ends because the way it ended last season. It's like a huge cliffhanger. So like, I'm excited. I'm totally stoked to watch that.
I've been trying to catch up on the X-Files.
Yeah,
like,
I tried.
Just rewatching
dude.
the shows, rewatching it. It's really long.
Yeah, this Sunday, man. This Sunday, it's back.
I'm only on season 2, towards the end of season 2. It's taking a long time.
I think I'm really scared. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna like, it's only 6 episodes, so in like 5 weeks I'll have all the shows and I'll watch them all at once. Because like I don't know if I want to wait week to week for that. Just there's so much other stuff coming back out, and like Legends of Tomorrow, like I said, it's premiering right now.
Tonight.
So excited, we got to talk about it. I'm so excited to watch that. It just looks awesome. Okay, so we both watched Jessica Jones.
Oh, right, yes.
When it came out, like about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and we had we really need to talk about that because
you didn't like it as much as I did.
I didn't like it as much. I didn't, but I did watch it within 2 days. Like I binge watched the shit out of it because I just wanted to watch it. I didn't want to get any reviews or anyone talking about it. I just wanted to see it for myself. And by the time I got halfway through it, I think I texted you and I said, I don't really like this as much as something. I said something to that effect. And then by the end, I was like, all right, like I liked it, but I don't see why people are saying it's better than Daredevil, because I thought Daredevil was a fucking bomb, man.
Yeah, I didn't think it was better than Daredevil. I thought it was still good. I think it ranks like 80% or something on Rotten Tomatoes.
Does it? I think it's in the 90s. Are you sure?
I thought it was in the 80s, like in the mid 80s afterwards.
Because it
debuted high, and then
because I would definitely put it at a low 80. I definitely would, and for a lot of different reasons.
So I liked Chris Ritter. I liked her as Jessica Jones.
Best thing about that show.
I like the guy who plays Luke Cage.
Like him too.
I was so disappointed in Kilgrave because David Tennant is one of my favorite actors.
Oh my God, I know, dude.
My favorite doctor.
Yes.
Love Him and Rose. Oh my God, that was when I was so hooked. I got to catch up on Doctor Who, but when the Rose and what was he, the 10th Doctor?
Yeah, when he left the show, I kind of lost interest a little bit.
Oh, it was so sad.
I watched Matt Smith a little bit.
Remember that episode where he's like actually changing?
It's so good.
And he's like, I'm not ready to go.
Dude, I popped a little tear, dude. I'm like,
because it was like him saying. it didn't feel like it was Doctor Who. It felt like David Tennant was like, I'm not ready to go, and I was like, no, I'm not ready for you to go either.
I know, it was so good, dude. We didn't really talk about we're not really watching Doctor Who right now either. I think it's in its 9th season with Peter Capaldi, but I haven't watched any of those yet. But like, he was so good, and that show is so good. Like, I don't know of any other sci-fi show that makes you feel all those emotions and stuff. Like, I've watched some of those episodes and was like scared. Like, I don't scare very easily, but some of those people that they introduced fucking were scary.
Like the statues?
Yes. Oh my God, I can't stand that. I can't deal with that.
Yeah,
it freaks me the fuck out. And like, just some of the shit that they did, and then some of the emotional stuff that they did with some of the characters coming and going, and it's just really well done.
I've watched it. I've caught up to the Matt Smith version, and I've been through all the Eccleston, and then it was David Tennant for a few years.
Yeah, yeah.
And so far, every single Doctor that I've seen has not given me the same emotions. That I got for. I mean, I don't mind Matt Smith anymore. I had a problem with him only because he wasn't David Tennant.
Right.
And I liked Matt Smith. Matt Smith is a distant second compared to how I feel about David Tennant as Doctor Who.
Big time.
So,
I haven't seen the new guy yet. I've seen him in other things, though.
Yeah, he was actually in a couple episodes of Doctor Who.
He was, yeah, I know.
So is Karen Gillan.
That show is like Star Trek. Like, people just come in and out of it, like even major actors.
Law and Order.
Yeah, exactly. Sci-fi Law and Order. I love Doctor Who. It's great. It's a great show, but like, it does, like, when they pull those, changing the doctors, it does take you a little bit to kind of like.
Because when I started to like Eccleston, I started to really like him. I was like, wait a minute, he's not going to be him anymore.
He was for 1
and
year,
then it
right?
took me, only 1 year, and then it took about like 4 episodes to start liking David Tennant.
Yeah.
And then by the end, I was like, I love this guy so much as Doctor
I know.
Who. And then it took me an entire season to like Matt Smith.
Yeah, because Matt Smith just seemed a little cutesy, and you could definitely tell the difference in acting abilities too. Like, really, David Tennant really commanded the screen big time. Just every time he was on screen.
Did you see Bloodchurch?
Yes.
Oh my God, good show.
Oh, good. That is really good.
They did an American version of that.
Really?
Yeah, it's on Fox. It's called something a little bit different, but apparently it's almost identical to season 1, but the ending is a big twist.
It's different.
Yeah.
Is that on right now?
It's on Fox. It's
okay.
actually, I think it's actually on Netflix.
Okay.
Look, I mean, it's basic. It takes place in America, but it's like right on the. You know how the kid is like killed on the beach with the big mountain or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
They found like a location in America just to film. Like it's almost identical.
Oh no
and
way!
And David Tennant plays the same character, only without a British accent.
That's so weird. Really?
I know. Yeah, it's not called Broadchurch, but it's called something else.
Okay, well I'll watch it. Wait, are you sure that's not Torchwood's something different.
Torchwood. Wait, not Torchwood.
It's not Torchwood. Torchwood is an offshoot of Doctor Who, though, isn't it? And like I didn't watch any of those.
No, I didn't watch that one either.
I was going to, but then they canceled it so quickly. I was like, all right, well, I won't really go into that one then. But like the guy, what's his name, is the captain guy. He's an Arrow. He's Max. He's the girl's father. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. What his name is? The other guy that he's now Ra's al Ghul now. Malcolm.
Oh, Malcolm. Right.
Yeah, he was
Michael
the captain.
Merlin.
Yeah, Merlin. Right. He's the captain or whatever in Doctor Who. I can't remember his name now. Dang it, Captain Jack or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's Jack.
Yeah, but I remember seeing him on Arrow, and I was like, oh my God, like awesome. Every time I see a Doctor Who character, Matt Smith or David Tennant, anywhere and any other thing, I go watch that thing. I do. So like when Jessica Jones was coming out, I was going to watch that regardless, but it just elevated it, even more to find out that he was going to be in it. I was like, holy shit, like, okay, I can't wait to see his bad guy. And I have to say that I'm not totally disappointed, but I was a little disappointed in his character. And only because he just seemed like I don't like it when they make strong bad guys, like they give them a little weakness or something. You know what I mean? Like, I can give you all kinds of examples. Like, for instance, like Die Hard with a Vengeance, they gave, the bad guy, Simon, they gave him a stutter. So once they gave him a stutter, it just took all the air out of him. Like, he's not really that bad anymore. And then, like, David Tennant was such a whiny bitch, half the time that it kind of took me out of it. I'm just like, you're not, like, you say you're like this, everyone says you're this evil person, you do evil things, and once in a while he would do something really, truly fucking cruel and evil to people. But then ultimately he would just be a little bitch, Right,
yeah. I remember I got hooked because of when the girl went into the elevator and killed her parents.
Yes.
Like, holy fuck, this is ridiculously good.
Like, because I'm like, oh my, that's so evil.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God. And it built up such a big anticipation for when, Tennant finally showed himself. And then, when he, Jessica stopped being afraid of him, he just became, like you said, this whiny bitch, and it wasn't, and the ending was really anticlimactic too.
Right.
I mean, the fight between, I know Jessica Jones couldn't fight Kilgrave because she would have just punched a hole through his head, but it was so anticlimactic, and the fact that he only surrounded himself with only like 10, 15 people,
right,
to protect him. And
the silver lining of that episode is he controlled Luke Cage, and that fight scene is pretty fucking awesome. Between Luke
but
Cage
it still didn't compare to the fight between Kingpin and and Daredevil. That was
right.
just brutal.
And then didn't even come close to, we've talked about the second episode of Daredevil to death.
Oh, the
scene. Yeah. I've gone back, dude, and just like, I'm going to watch that scene. I just feel like watching that scene. I've watched it so many times. And I still sit there and look at it and try to figure out how the fuck they did it, because, there's little cuts in there, but it's blended so well that you can't even tell. So just for the listeners, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the show before, or maybe you haven't, but if you haven't seen the show, watch the show just specifically for the ending of episode 2. That was the one thing that just completely got me hooked on that show. I mean, the first episode is fantastic, but that was like the seal the deal. Like I was like, oh my God, there's nothing better than this right now on TV. This is so good.
Yeah.
That fight scene was just amazing. And
that's basically all I did was that.
You felt exhausted. You felt exhausted along with Daredevil by the end of that fight. You're like sitting there breathing heavy. I was like on the edge of my seat and like I wasn't breathing. And then once he like got the kid, I let out my breath. I was like, oh my God, like that was crazy. It was so real and so fantastic. And the fact that Daredevil gets the shit beat out of him all the time, I like that too. It's real. It's real to me. I like that.
Even though he had, somewhat superpowers with his other enhanced ability, like hearing and stuff, and he's got, he's quicker and more agile than most.
Yeah.
He takes a fucking beating.
Yeah, he does. And
he's got no armor, and I love what they did at the beginning of the costume, and then they didn't put him in the costume after the first episode.
Yeah, I like that too. I like. I remember when they were saying he wasn't going to be in the costume. I was kind of like, okay, there must be a method here to the madness. But they showed the costume.
The last episode.
They showed it in the last episode, and now if unfortunately when if new viewers go to watch it, the what you call it, the emblem of Daredevil, the title screen shows him in the suit, so it's kind of a bummer that they did that. But it's still kind of worth, when he gets the suit.
I love the black costume that he had.
I did too.
It was awesome.
I wasn't sure about it, and I keep hearing about Spider-Man's costume, what that's coming up, and I'm hoping they kind of do the same thing. Because what kid knows how to fucking sew an awesome-looking Spider-Man suit? It doesn't make any sense. So for him to maybe start out as something that only a kid could make, that gets me excited because I'm like, okay, they're treating it properly. They're not making us out to being, idiots. Oh, we'll just follow along with this or whatever. I like the fact that they're taking very great care in their characters. Iron Man set up everything. And Iron Man, if you go back and watch it again, it's such a beautifully done movie, especially the whole beginning part when it's very slow going, but it's a very, it's still very watchable. You can go back and watch it and see him become Iron Man, over and over, and it's still riveting. It's still really well done. And so I'm hoping that they really take good care of Spider-Man the same way. I just love that they're just fuck everything that's been done before on Spider-Man. Who gives a shit? We've got it now. We're going to take care of this property. And so I've never been more excited since Spider-Man 2 came out. I'm super stoked that Marvel got that character back. So hopefully let's see what happens with it. But
I think they got it back in the 50-50 with Sony. So
yeah, but still, but I guess over Sony approval, the script or whatever. But the fact that Marvel has a big
Marvel should have final say on the script.
Dude, yeah, honestly, and Marvel should have Fantastic Four back. God damn it! I'm glad they got Daredevil back. That was a huge thing. I'm so glad they got him back.
I was pretty excited to see what Marvel could do, and when they said it was going to be a TV show on Netflix, I was even more excited because it's Marvel.
Yeah.
Really had a bad. Other than half the episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they haven't really fumbled anything.
Right. Even Agent Carter's really good.
Because Agent Carter only has to be good for 8 episodes.
Right, and that's
S.H.I.E.L.D.
the
has to be
huge
good for
difference.
26 episodes.
Yeah, that's the big difference right there. It's huge. It's instrument because they have all these filler episodes where they don't answer shit and they just drive you crazy, and then and then they go on hiatus for a month, and you're just like, fuck this show. But because by the time it came back, like when I watched the first half of the season or first season, when the second season or the second half of the first season started, I didn't care. I'm like, I'll just wait till the summer to watch it. And that's what I did. And then season 2, I did the same thing. I'm like, I'll just wait till the summer, and I watched it on Netflix. So now it's season 3. I haven't watched a single episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet. I'm not invested.
I'm caught up.
Yeah, I'm just not as invested in it. But the 13 episode thing is just, I like that format. And the fact that they're letting us binge watch it all at once is pretty damn cool, because I tell you what, like with Daredevil, it was so good that 6 months later, I was like, I'd like to revisit that. And I watched the whole thing again, like no problem. Just went all the way through it and remembered things like, oh, fuck, that was so cool, and it's so rewatchable, and I'm probably going to do that with Jessica Jones. Like, give me a couple more months, and I'll probably go back and watch it again.
I wish they would release their shows almost like in a yearly span, because there's 13 episodes, right? So take like a normal 13 episode run in lifetime, right? So take 13 weeks, you release it, say you release it on January 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go 13 weeks, and then you release another Jessica Jones. Then you go 13 weeks, and then release Luke Cage, and just keep that cycle going.
It would be cool, but,
awesome.
Netflix, unfortunately, Netflix is, they have their business model is just shove everything at once, but.
No, I know, but it would be so cool if they could just go in a row. Like, I'll get Daredevil, I get Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and then Iron Fist, and then go back all the way around.
Yeah, it would be cool. It would be cool. They're what's interesting is what they first started out, they wanted to do 4 shows and then do the Defenders show where they're all together. Mm-hmm. And it seems like now that Daredevil was such a huge success, they're like, fuck it, let's do another season of Daredevil. And now they're, fuck it, let's do another season of Jessica Jones. And
they didn't film anything for Luke Cage, and they haven't even found an Iron Fist yet.
No, but Luke Cage is like in the middle of filming right now. So I don't know when they're going to debut that, because Jessica Jones should debut this fall again. They're already busy writing it, and
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know where Iron Fist fits, because apparently he has some kind of stuff that crosses over to Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So with the magic, with the mysticism that he uses to do the Iron Fist. So,
yeah, I don't know how they would do.
I don't know if they're purposely doing that.
I heard that John Barenthal, as his name is, did such a good job as the Punisher that now they're talking about doing a season of Punisher now. I'm fucking excited. I'm like, God damn it, this is such a great time to live.
There's going to be so many Marvel comic characters on Netflix that they're going to have to do what I just said, because if they're going to put Iron Fist, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and the Punisher along with the Defenders, that's 6 shows.
They could fill up a year easily.
Yeah, exactly.
You only need 52 weeks. 52 weeks with a couple weeks maybe free with nothing going on. But yeah, they could do it. They've got and they keep having these like the Punisher. I don't think they ever thought they were going to do a Punisher show until they saw him on the screen and went, "Holy shit, he's so good.
Good casting.
So good." Really good casting.
You remember him from The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I loved it. Even though everyone hated Shane, I was like, I like that actor. He's really good. He made you hate him, but shit. I've seen him in other things.
That's why I thought he was going to be a good Punisher.
Yeah, he does have the look, man. He's got the
craziness to him.
Yeah, and you have to be crazy because his whole family was murdered. So
well, he's got that the Shane went a little crazy, and when he went crazy, you could see it. And then for some reason, I just pictured that craziness, but in a Punisher outfit, and I thought that was good casting.
Yeah, I don't know who the Elektra person is. I think I've recognized
I've never
her
heard
from something,
her before. I don't think I've seen anything. But
I'm hoping, man. Elektra was one of the worst, probably Marvel character movies. Just as bad as Catwoman was for DC. It was a terrible movie. And I don't like Jennifer Garner too.
I never watched it.
Don't waste your time. It's one of the worst comic book movies they ever made. So I'm hoping that they finally treat that character right. I wonder who the villain is going to be. Is it Bullseye, or have they even said who the villain's going to be, or if there's going to be hints of Kingpin anywhere?
I don't know, but in the one thing that they released, these villains that have been a part of the Daredevil verse in the show, and they didn't show Bullseye, but they showed 2 cards.
Oh.
On it.
Okay.
Representing Bullseye.
Yeah. Okay.
So somebody picked up on that and was thinking like maybe he would show up at some point this season.
God, what a far cry from the movie it is, man. Like I can't even like go back and watch the movie anymore. Because
oh my God, the movie's something terrible.
Because the characters are so over the top, especially Bullseye. I couldn't stand him. But
you know what I lost? You know what I didn't realize? I probably realized a little bit sooner, but I knew they jumped the shark when Ben Affleck is fighting Jennifer Garner in the playground. And he's supposed to be blind, and he's like balancing on all this shit.
Right, and it looked like they were on wires. It looked so bad.
Yeah, and then every time, like, as he was using the stick to walk blind, he would use the stick that way.
Oh, yeah.
But then when he was fighting, he was looking directly fucking at her.
Right. I mean, it's not gosh, that dude's come a long way. I'm actually really excited for his Batman, but
I'm excited for his own Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
But so I think that's about
that's pretty much it. I mean, it's funny because a lot of the shows that we watch they're just not on right now. You know, like Walking Dead, Game of Thrones. I mean, we'll definitely have a lot more to talk about once that stuff starts popping back up, because those are
I'm gonna let the DVR pick up on most of the Game of Thrones so I can binge watch it. I'm in a new world where I don't like watching anything live unless it's sports.
Yeah, it just really depends on what it is. It really does, because certain shows you can't wait to watch. You're like, I gotta watch.
Well, like I said, the closest to live, what I told in the beginning was the closest to live I get right now is waiting 20-30 minutes when the show's recording.
Right.
And then just so that I don't have to sit there through the commercials.
You can burn through the commercials, yeah. That's why I like the Hopper. I have the Hopper on Dish Network. I just let the whole thing record, and then when you go back to watch it, it fast forwards for you through the commercials. It just
oh, nice.
It's super cool. That's everything that I'm watching. It's really not a ton of shows compared to what I used to watch, but I'm very picky now about certain things, and so, you know, it's kind of nice when shows are on hiatus. I can catch up to other things, and
that's usually what I do.
You know, but I'm very excited about Walking Dead coming back, because I know it's coming.
I'm only like 2 or 3 episodes behind now.
Oh, damn it! Hurry up so we can talk, because they do some stuff that hints of what's to come. So I'm very, very excited about certain things coming up.
I got to start reading a little further into the comics, because I stopped after a while.
Yeah, dude, they're up to 150 now, and I think I only read up to 110, but they're up to 150, I want to say now, or something like that. And some major stuff happens, I guess. So I think, you know, kind of like Game of Thrones. Well, Game of Thrones actually caught up to the books now. You realize that, right? Like this.
Well, yeah. From this point on, nobody knows what's
going to happen. You know, Jon Snow's dead. Of course, everyone's speculating, no, he's going to be, you know, brought back to life or whatever. But but Game of Thrones is caught up. Walking Dead is you know, they have a way of, they can like kind of slow things down here and there. You know, they're kind of good at that. Like the second season, you know, they were only like in the comic book, they were on that farm for like 1 or 2, you know, comics. That's it. But yet they strung that thing along all of second season. So they have a way to slow it down, but they're almost caught up. You know, they're getting really close. But anyway.
Yeah, The Walking Dead, I'm just trying to catch up now. Like I told you, the thing that I'm trying to do is, and it's not going to happen by Sunday, not enough hours in the day, even if I stayed home from work.
X-Files?
Yeah. I'm only on halfway to season 2. Yeah,
just, you know, what I'm going to do is just, I'm going to bundle those up, because I want to watch them all as one big movie. I don't want to take 1 week at a time. If it was like, you know, 13 episodes, I don't think I could wait that long. I would start watching it, but, 5 weeks, I can wait a month, you know, and I have spring break coming up.
I'm going to need that time. I'm going to need that time to catch up.
Yeah.
I watched the latter half of X-Files, and I think I stopped watching it during the Robert Patrick.
I only got through maybe the middle of season 8. That's as far as I've
never really watched the first 3 or 4 seasons.
Oh, they're fantastic. Oh, my God. The first 5 seasons of that show is fantastic. Just fantastic. So it hit its peak in like the 5th or 6th season when the first movie came out. And the first movie was okay. The thing that Chris Carter drives me crazy is he's worse than Lost. he just brings up all this stuff, and it gets so confusing and convoluted. But then he comes up with these like episodes that are standalone episodes that are so fucking good that you like, okay, I could forgive it, whatever. But there's like always a whole story arc about aliens and all that stuff, but they never like really answer anything. It just drives you more and more nuts. And so I'm really praying that these 6 episodes are good enough to actually warrant a second season, first of all, but also actually start answering some of these questions, or having some of those standalone episodes where you could see the chemistry and all that stuff and all the characters. So I read a review earlier that said, a lot of reviewers are saying like, oh, the first episode, but then they said it starts kicking into gear. So and I kind of expected that. I can't, first episode be this amazing thing where you're like, oh my God. But they definitely said like after you watch the first episode, you're like, okay, they're back. Like, okay, no time's gone. Like, okay, let's go. And then the show starts. So, here's to hoping, man, they do a good job. And I wish one of these, I wish Netflix would just get everything, because like they do such a good job with, I'm still waiting for the announcement when they announce they're going to do a Star Wars show. I'm going to be so fucking excited. So that
would be amazing.
Yeah, but that's pretty much all I'm watching.
That's what we're watching now. That's episode 5 in the books. So
stay tuned for some goodness coming up in the next few weeks. We
got some big coming. Announcements. Hopefully some other things. In the works. But that's it. Episode 5, all finished.
All right, peace out. I'm BJ.
Vic, later.
Later.